Hello, hello. Welcome to Upwork Academy. Today we are talking about how to stand out on Upwork. And this is one of those things that just feels really challenging when you're first starting out on here because you don't have tons of reviews or you just started your profile. You're just kind of stuck. Let's talk about what do we do? So, a couple of things that are really important, especially when you're first starting out on Upwork, is this right here. It seems basic to get your profile to 100%. And when we go to complete profile here, we have show completed at the very bottom. These are all the things that you do in the onboarding process. So that is our tags, our description, our profile photo, and our portfolio. But Upwork asks us, well, they don't actually ask us. That's the weird thing, is that Upwork does not really have an onboarding process once you go through the initial couple questions they ask you. So this is just left for you to do. And this is one of those things that immediately gives you a little boost in the algorithm and also in front of clients because they see that your profile is completed. They know that you're more verified. Upwork tends to promote you in the algorithm because of just something as small as this. So go through, add a couple of things, and many of these things actually sit so low in your profile that they don't really end up mattering anyway. So something like employment history sits so low on your Upwork profile that clients never scroll down that far. So don't worry about making it perfect. Just get it done. I like the ones that are 10% rather than 5. But if you want to just put your social media, a video introduction, I really like a video introduction only if you focus primarily on what the client needs. So rather than doing a full dissertation on here's all the great things I've ever done, here's all of my cool software that I use, all of that stuff is really important, super great, but not really what the client's there for when it comes to a video introduction. They're really in that most primarily selfish mode where they're like, who can do the thing that I need done and quickly? So you need to get to them as quickly as possible when you have their attention for that 30 to 60 seconds. So I really like to do, here's what kind of freelancer I am. Here's what I bring to the table to help you. So bring in a little bit of that language where you're saying, here's how I help you. Here's what I bring to your project. All of that stuff, if that's in there, then I'm gonna sign off on a video introduction. So simple thing, but important to do, especially within that first couple weeks on here. We want to get that knocked out. Second thing I want to talk to you about is in the proposal stage. So I'm going to show you how to get there. We click on any of our job listings. We go to the little apply now button on the top right corner. All right, so another thing that we can do when it comes to standing out on Upwork is to use specialized profiles, which are essentially different profiles that you can use to target a very specific kind of client. So in this case, we have the general profile, which is what you get when you first start on Upwork. It's just all of your profiles and all of your portfolios in one place, all of your testimonials, kind of just a big catch-all for all the things you've ever done on Upwork. Not a bad thing to have it. It's really going to not be a big deal if you just use your general profile, especially for those first couple weeks to months on Upwork. It's a really nice thing to use these other profiles that Upwork gives us to talk specifically to a certain kind of client. So use your headlines, your descriptions. And a really good example of this is if I was a web designer, let's say, we would have 2 different profiles that are talking to different kinds of clients. So let's say somebody who wants to do more of the graphic design stuff. So more of the slideshow things, landing pages, making it pretty, making it kind of feel cool, more design focused. This kind of client still wants a website, but the language you're going to use is different than the person who wants something that's more technically focused. So something that wants Stripe integration, e-commerce stuff, somebody who wants HTML and cPanel and all their domains hooked up. And the more the techie side is over here. And if you use language with the creative person, the ones who's more of a design thing, they're going to get super confused if you use any of the tech language over here that you would use to speak to this kind of client. So we don't want to have those 2 streams crossed if possible. So I like to create 2 different profiles that talk to this client and then this client separately. And it can be a little bit of a subconscious thing you're doing with clients, but it will make you stand out because it feels like you're not a jack of all trades. It feels like you're speaking directly to them, that you know exactly what their project's like and how to actually help them. So I start by making those specialized profiles. It's super helpful. Another thing I want you to do is to really look at descriptions. And I know you want to look through this thing and really think about what this client wants. And I know what you're probably thinking. You're thinking, Kayla, don't they want a cover design? And yes, Absolutely. They do want a cover design, but do they want it in a certain time frame? Do they want it in a certain style? Do they care about how the files are created and sent to you? That kind of stuff is really what's going to make a massive difference and give you a little bit of an edge on Upwork, especially because people on here usually just send proposals and it's mostly just saying, hey, I'm a cover designer and I can do this. Here's all the other cool cover designs I've done. Please hire me. It's really just the structure of most people's proposals on here. And it doesn't have anything to do with this actual description. People don't actually mention anything about what the actual job is, more than oftentimes just the specs. They don't ask the client questions. They don't show any real interest in what's actually going on there. So the people you're competing with sometimes don't even put anything about the description itself at all. And the reason I know this is because I actually get work done on Upwork a fair bit. I create job listings, I look through proposals myself, and I have seen the number of times that people don't even put anything about what I actually want. They'll just say, hey, I'm the correct kind of freelancer, and that's where it stops. And that usually makes it so I don't really want to work with them because they haven't really taken the time to really care about what I actually want done. And if you can show just a little bit of interest and even better, ask questions, you have immediately an edge over somebody who's never done any of those things on here. Let's talk about the cover letter. So this is my cover letter. It's 2 sentences or maybe 6 sentences, very short, 2 lines essentially. And that's intentional. I don't want clients to read a full dissertation for me. A lot of times on here, people are sending 20 to 50 proposals, sometimes overnight, into job listings. And so clients are just baseline overwhelmed. They are drowning. And so it's a really good idea to just cut to it if possible. Tell them exactly how you can help them. So go into this with a little bit more of a how can I help you rather than here's how great I am. And I understand the temptation is to be very much just like, here's all the cool stuff I've done so I can prove to you that I'm actually qualified to do the thing. And a lot of times what people respond to a little bit more is that you've noticed what they need done, that you get it more so, rather than trying to prove to them that you get it. So I like to go in with a couple of sentences. I keep it very simple. I'm a professional in the thing. So in this case, illustration. I specialize in cover design. I noticed you need, and then repeat back to them exactly the way that they talk about it. So use their same language. Really good idea to do that because then it feels like they don't have to translate back into their own language. You guys are speaking the same language at that point. And then I like to ask them a question. Even if they put, and this is really rare if this ever happens, but if they put all of the logistics, all of the specs, and everything, always a good idea to ask just a follow-up, a little clarification question, because it opens the door for them to talk to you. So this immediately gives you a little bit of rapport, and they feel like they can cross the bridge because to them, you're just a profile picture. You're really not a whole lot of tangible human to them. And so it's nice to give them that bridge if possible. So I like a little bit of a question if possible, even if you already know everything. And then this is really important, a call to action, which in marketing is just, here's the next step that I want you to take. And normally I talk about this in terms of actually getting work on here, but this is something that helps you stand out because it makes it so that you feel like somebody who already understands the platform. And because Upwork is so weirdly difficult to navigate sometimes, this feels like you're extending your hand saying, hey, I can help you through this process. I've done this before. Even if you haven't, you can say, hey, I know what the next step is to take, and I'm going to guide you through that process. And that's why I recommend that you guys get client accounts so you can take screenshots of their side of things. I go into that in other videos if you want to check that out. But this makes you feel like somebody who's got their back, like you understand the platform so you can guide them through the whole process. It makes them feel like they can finally relax because they're just stressed out even using the platform sometimes. Attachments. This is something that I like to do too. If you have anything that even remotely relevant to what they're doing. So if they say something like, I want to see a specific design, or I want to see something that's specific to the thing that you're trying to do, or just a little bit of something to help them see your style in their project, then attach it here. Just put it a screenshot, the bare minimum of something, because that is really what we're trying to do, is help them see your design attached to their project and not really worry about your portfolio. Because if they have to go through your portfolio and find something that's tangentially related, that's a little bit of a further step than just handing it over to them. Boosting is not something I ever recommend. And so I don't want you guys to get lured in by this kind of thing. I have other videos on filters and avoiding the competitive nature of Upwork's proposal system. This is not something that is going to prevent you from being seen by clients, and I don't want you to be seduced by it. So don't put anything in here ever. No, just as a general note. Anytime Upwork asks us for anything extra, the answer is always no. Upwork Pro is still garbage. This is trying to get you to do things based on feeling like nobody's seeing your proposals. There are ways around this, and I talk about those in other videos on my channel. So go check those out. But that is the best way to do that. That is the best way to stand out on here, is to put calls to action to make people feel like you're an expert. You can guide them through the process. Use specialized profiles to target a very specific kind of client. There's other ways that we can stand out, especially in a competitive job listing. So if there's 20 to 50 proposals, I usually offer a Zoom meeting. Things like that can just give you that little bit of an edge on Upwork. But I will create other videos for that so that we can get into this topic a little bit deeper. But that is something to give you a little bit of a head start on optimizing your profile, making things a little bit easier to use. I have a school group. You can ask me questions, you can send me your profiles, all that good stuff. And I will see you guys in the next one.